Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Smith, and now we're going to read Appellate Courts. Let's take it up. Help! I lost my case. Gabby just walked out of the courthouse and she's furious. That's why she's on her cell phone calling you. That's what friends are for, right? Gabby just lost her case in trial. The judge found in favor of the other side. Can you believe it? Must be something she can do, but Gabby isn't sure. Can she take her case to the Court of Appeals? What about to the Supreme Court? And if she can take her case up, what will happen there? Do those courts work just like the trial court? You don't know the answers, but you feel sorry for Gabby, and she's yelling in your ear. So you promise her you'll find out. You've barely hung up when you get a call from Bob. He's got a problem just like Gabby's, but he just heard Gabby lost her case. Does that mean he shouldn't bother taking his own case to court? If he does take his case to court, will the outcome of Gabby's case affect whether he can win? Once you're off the phone, you brainstorm a quick list of things you'll need to find out. They're all great questions, but only some will help you tell Gabby and Bob what to expect. You need to cut down your list. Put an X next to the questions that will help you answer Gabby and Bob. Leave the rest blank. Number 1, will the Court of Appeals hold a trial all over again? Number 2, how tall is the Supreme Court building? Number 3, does the Court of Appeals have to accept every case? Number 4, will there be a jury to decide the case at the Court of Appeals? Number 5, are there any women justices on the Supreme Court? Number 6, is there only one judge at the Court of Appeals? Number 7, why do we have a Court of Appeals? Number 8, if Gabby doesn't like what happens at the Court of Appeals, does the Supreme Court have to take her case? Number 9, what kinds of cases does the Supreme Court take? Number 10, how many justices will decide the case at the Supreme Court? Number 11, who is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? Number 12, if Gabby wins at the Supreme Court, will Bob automatically win his case? Number 13, do people get to testify at the Supreme Court like they do in a trial court? Number 14, how many cases did the Supreme Court hear last year? Number 15, when did the Supreme Court hear its first case? Number 16, if Gabby loses at the Court of Appeals, will Bob automatically lose his case? Number 17, do people get to testify at the Court of Appeals like they do in a trial court? Number 18, do Supreme Court justices get elected? All right, so you're supposed to check off questions that will help you answer Gabby and Bob. And now supposedly you've pared down your list because you can't actually type on here on the PDFs, but whatever, we'll pretend you did. Read the true story of what happened when a middle school girl took her own case up the judicial system. As you read, look for the answers to the questions on your list. And it says raise your hand each time you spot one, but hey, I guess you can raise your hand. It's a good stretch. But just kind of make a mental note of it. All right. Appellate courts. Let's take it up. Student rights violated. Safford Unified School District versus Reading. This happened in 2009. So I'll just move my cursor down as I've been doing. Savannah Redding must have been furious when she lost her court case in the trial court. It all started when someone told the school principal Savannah was giving pills to other students. Even though Savannah had never been in trouble before and denied doing anything wrong, the principal ordered the school nurse and a female school employee to search Savannah. They took Savannah into a room and told her to take off her outer clothing and to shake out her underwear. They didn't find any pills. Savannah believed her rights had been violated. After all, the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution is supposed to protect people against unreasonable searches. So Savannah took her case to court, arguing that the strip search violated her Fourth Amendment rights. The trial court didn't see it that way. The judge decided the school had the right to conduct the search based on two factors. Number one, the school had a good reason to believe the search needed to be done. And two, the search did not go too far, considering that drugs are very serious. Savannah's lawyer filed a written brief in the Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, arguing the school did not have good reason to conduct a strip search and that the search did go too far. All right, so I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. Hold on. Oops. All right, here we are, over here. Both lawyers went to court for an oral argument in front of a panel of 3 Court of Appeals judges. Savannah couldn't tell the judges her story, but she could sit in the courtroom and listen. During the oral argument, her lawyer explained his reasoning to the judges. They peppered him with questions to be sure they understood his point of view. So peppering him with questions means they're just throwing a lot of questions at him all at once. Like you put pepper on your food. You just shake it all on. All right. In private, the Court of Appeals judges considered whether the trial court judge correctly analyzed the 2 factors. 2 of the 3 judges agreed that she did. They issued a written opinion explaining their decision and giving the judge who disagreed a chance to explain his dissent. But it was 2 against 1, so Savannah lost again. I'm going to scroll back up, top of the next column. There was still hope. Savannah's lawyer took a chance and asked for something that doesn't happen very often. He asked all the Ninth Circuit judges to reconsider their decision together. They agreed. It would be too crowded for all 48 judges in the circuit to be in the courtroom, so they chose 11 judges to sit on the en banc panel and hear the case again. Everyone filed more briefs, and there was a new oral argument. This time, Savannah had 6 judges on her side. She won. But the school wasn't giving up. It still believed the first 2 courts had interpreted the law correctly. Unless they kept fighting, the Ninth Circuit decision would become a precedent. In a future case with very similar facts as this one, judges in all Ninth Circuit states would have to decide in the student's favor. So precedent is when a case is decided and then all the other cases that come up that are similar have to be decided in the same way. All right, we're right here. The Court of Appeals was not going to hear this case again. So the school only had one shot, the Supreme Court. But there was a problem. Unlike the Court of Appeals, the Supreme Court gets to choose which cases to take, and most get rejected. The Supreme Court only listens to cases with very important issues. If the Supreme Court rejected this case, the Court of Appeals decision would be final. Let's scroll down a little bit more. The school filed a petition asking the Supreme Court to take the case. It worked. The lawyers filed more briefs. Groups who cared about the case filed friend of the court briefs in support of Savannah or the school. There was one final oral argument where each lawyer spoke in front of all 9 Supreme Court justices who fired tough questions about how the law applied in the case. Afterward, weeks passed. Finally, the court issued a written opinion. Although the court found that the school had a good reason to believe a search should be done, the court said that a strip search went too far. Savannah won. Because she decided to take her case up as far as it would go, the Supreme Court decision is now precedent for everyone in the country. So that's a pretty cool story. All right. So there's some activities to do here if you want to take a look. Figuring out, these items down below. And is it just related to the Court of Appeals, just to the Supreme Court, or both? There's a crossword puzzle. There is some facts and reasons here. Again, this is just to assess your understanding. It is not something that Mrs. Smith is asking you to do and hand in. All right, if you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me, I think, right? You know my email, ksmith@ledger.net. Okay, thanks.